So let us go first to the Telegraph, Josh.
Well, Telegraph
front page as always.
Yeah, they've got three really good stories. So please let me just say the three of them, because the other two are excellent as well. But the biggessbiggest one, I guess, would be Wallace, human rights laws protecting terrorists. And obviously this is our ex-defence secretary, who is essentially saying that when there's some bad people on other parts of the world, his options are curtailed somewhat. He can only kill them with strikes. That's fine. He can send in the drones. That's all good, but he's not allowed to capture them.
No.
He wished, because of the EHRC, but other international laws as well, human rights laws. So he feels like he would prefer to have options. I'm totally fine with him just killing them myself.
He's being forced into the final solution, as it were, for this. Sorry, that was what was wrong with me tonight? But he's being forced into the extreme measure of assassination, because if he were to capture them, he immediately is entangled in bureaucratic.
Essentially, that's the gist of the article. Yeah, which is it is interesting.
There's a lot of discussion, isn't there, about the ECHR, isn't it? European Court of Human Rights. What's his name? Sumption has been saying that he's Jonathan Sumption, the senior law lord, who was quite sceptical about lockdown and so on. He's come out against it recently, and he's one of the more reasonable voices.
Well, Ben Wallace says he doesn't want the EHRC, but he just wants more clarity.
OK.
Is what he's sort of saying.
Fair enough.
And that's obviously what they've latched onto. Probably from a 4-hour interview, they've whittled down to this one talking point.
Well, he's a serious chap, Ben Wallace. Everyone admired him very much. Was surprised he wouldn't stand for leader. There's a nice picture of Penny Mordaunt with a boat.
Yep, she's got a boat there. I think they're going to build a couple of boats. But I think the other two stories are really interesting, is that the National Crime Agency has come out and basically said we need some kind of Rwanda policy if we are going to stop migrants coming over by the boats. This is on the eve of Labour. They're going to be finally saying what they would do instead, which is essentially asking for more cooperation and stuff. But as the National Crime Agency says, it's really, it's not just like dealing with one organisation. You put down one, another one's going to come up. The need is there, the desire is there. And if people feel like, and they said the only time it's ever worked is what Australia did.
And that's absolutely true. But, of course, Australia has the benefit of having a number of islands just moored off, not moored, but just off the coast of Australia that they can re-deliver these people to.
Isle of Wight?
It's possible, isn't it? Or Jersey. I am interested, as you say, it's obviously Labour have had the luxury of just being able to tut for the last few years. But I do think, although there's been an awful lot of news of this kind, the Express exclusive that we covered last night, and I know Nigel Farage has been talking about, in which it's been exposed that we've paid getting on for £1 billion for absolutely nothing. All these French...
Well, the numbers have gone down. They have gone down.
But they're not taking it seriously. They're not doing their job, preventing this happening. Do you have a view on this one, Darius?
I heard someone say today, we should just send them back to France on our boats, which I thought was if that's
just a sort of circular trade,
And then they were, I think that's
with maybe a lot of duty free. We could
I think that's
mussels and cockles on going out. And,
I think that's a good idea. I mean, yes, obviously something needs to be done. They're coming over. Well, lots of boats coming over here in droves. I think sending them back to France and letting them deal with it there, put it back on the French and see how they deal with it.
There's obviously, it's a very muddy area, isn't it? Because, in terms of overall numbers, it might not be huge, but the psychological damage it's doing at the moment, I think, is pretty substantial to the people's sense of their island being inviolate. It's a traditional part of our island persona, isn't it? Our character
Alternatively, go the Leo Curse route, and when they arrive here, all the people who are welcoming them in their, their nice communities in the Cotswolds, send them there.
Yeah, as DeSantis did, sending them up to Martha's Vineyard.
New York is, it's going crazy. But the final story, which is tiny, which unfortunately we don't actually have the full text for because it just came in, but is girls want a house, not a husband. So I think it tips over 52% or something like that of girls say that by 30 they would rather have a house than a husband. And I think they've got more luck getting a husband.
Yeah, almost
the way
certainly.
That things are going
and
nowadays.
also as a route to getting a house, I would have said, but still.